I've got the fan in my room on, so that's what the noise is. Okay, so Big Brother 14. Okay, I want to say that this season is better than last season because it wasn't as negative. Everybody got a good amount of camera time, everybody mattered and stuff like that, but at the same time, I want to say that I'm not as big a fan of this season because basically, like with Big Brother 5, this season felt like ultimately not that much happened because like the house basically divided itself up in groups, even though these groups reshuffled as the season went on, and then they were just picking everyone off one by one. I mean, like with Big Brother 5, those nice characters, but it just didn't really amount to that much. And a couple of things that people did in this season also made me think less of them towards the end, unlike Big Brother 5, where they basically stayed at the same level of likability. Okay, so, I'll have to admit, though, when I first started viewing this season, it looked like it was going to be a lot more fun than it was. Everybody, like I said, was getting good amounts of camera time. We had the coaches twist going in there, so major characters from previous seasons back already, and it was pretty shocking to me that they chose Brittany to come back, because I mean, like, she was pretty noticeable in her season, and I got the feeling that there would be a lot of people pulling for her, but I'll have to admit, for a good amount of the season, I didn't really think of about her that much. I was just focused on the brigade and what's the term for it? Rachel? I can never remember how they combined them, you know? Yeah, but I was glad that she came back. I felt like she really did deserve another chance at Big Brother, even though Big Brother doesn't really have a habit of bringing returnees back, yeah. Uh-huh. So, while the coach twist was still in effect, I gotta admit, though, I enjoyed what was happening, but I can't comment on it that much because I don't know. Oh yeah, sure, I can comment on Willie, I mean, like, that was ridiculous. He threw off the handle for basically no reason, and it seemed like he really was trying to get along with people, but his personality, caught up to him. Even more reason to close the book on the Hans family, even though I'll admit, out of all of everyone's total track record, Willie did do the least out of the three, although based on what I've seen, I think Russell's performance in Samoa only is better than this. Yeah. Everybody else, not much to comment on, honestly. And then there's the situation of the coaches actually coming into the game. Well, honestly, I don't really get why production just didn't have them in the game from the get-go. I mean, like, isn't it obvious that you wanted them to do it? I mean, like, why would you give America the option to put them in the game a few weeks in? Just like that. I mean, like, you don't just randomly give in to America saying, have the coaches play the game or something like that. They were always going to do that. Come on. I mean, like, I get the idea that you want to disguise it, but... Yeah. I mean, like, it does make it even more interesting, but... Seriously. Why throw in that offer? If you're gonna throw in the offer, you were gonna do it anyway. You wanted America to vote them in. And then, we get to the bit where the house basically divided itself into a couple of factions. You got, Boogie and his team, and then you've got the Quack Pack, even though Dan and Ian, and I think one other person did at least try, and portray some alliance to Boogie and his team, and, I did want the other side to triumph because I did like Dan and Brittany over Boogie, and even though Boogie wasn't really doing anything bad this season, I'm looking at him and I go, you know what, you've kind of got everything that you could basically want from this show anyway. I mean, like, you yourself, shockingly at the time, said, I'm good with the way the game is going, and something like that, because I got the feeling that he did want to be back in the house, but ultimately playing and fighting for his life, he didn't want that. He just wanted to really have some fun, and the way that it came across in this particular instance, that stressed to me that honestly he felt he had a good experience from it. I mean, like, yeah, he was a major character in his first season, although I didn't totally like him as much there at the time. I bet if I rewatch it, I'll like him a little bit better, but still have issues. Will, I got no problems with any more after I get past his first couple of episodes there. And then in All Stars, as I stated in that video, he did a much better game, but... So here, I don't really have any issues with his game, but it really wasn't that great, to be honest, and as I've already stated, he basically had everything. But the other people on his team, that was fairly interesting. You've got Ian monitoring both sides of the situation, and, like, really, Ian, other than, I think, Dan in his first season, this is, like, the most obvious person to be highlighted to be the winner in any Big Brother season, I think, honestly. And the crazy thing about that is that a Big Brother is happening while they're airing the show, you know? It's not like Survivor where you can pick people off from the get-go like many fans have incorrectly predicted the winner, even though I honestly don't mind that most of the time. Because I've liked these people. And then Frank, yeah, talk about a tough fight to stay alive. I mean, like, I thought Janelle and All Stars had a tough time. You compare what she had to face to him, yeah, she got some breaks, mind you. Frank, he was nominated every week that he wasn't head of household. I mean, like, he won, how many HOHs? He won 3 HOHs and 3 power vetoes. Holy shoot, man. Amazing. All that you went through there. And I'll admit, I was a little bit disappointed to see him go, but it had to end at some point. So what do I think doomed him? I don't know. I don't really think it has so much to do with his athleticism. I think it's just personality. Just too dang likable, although why people weren't complaining about Brittany in that situation, or Dan, I don't know. And then as for Jen, well, finally the Jen curse got broken because everybody that's been named Jen on the show has always turned out to be, well, bitch. Come on, you know they deserved it. So, yeah, I'm glad she redeemed that, although I'll admit she is like one of the few people you can argue that got real bad camera time. Since I'm talking about pretty much everybody on the jury, it seems, let's finish it up. Ashley, yeah, she was the cuckoo head in this season, seriously. I mean, like, that last jury speech she had, are you not even thinking? Come on. Joe, well, basically he was the guy who always seemed to be going up on the block. Kind of a hilarious running gag, along with his cooking. Yeah, I mean, like, seriously, guys, make up your mind. Is he a good cook or a bad cook? Oh, wait. He was the only one who said he was a good cook, and I think only Ian or Dan said he was a bad cook. Yeah, never mind. Then, Brittany's elimination, man, that sucked. Having her be thrown under the bus and blindsided in basically the same way as last time, and really, that was the start of where I was looking at Dan's gameplay, and I just go, dude, what happened to the smooth mastermind of last season, for crying out loud? I mean, like, you were subtly manipulating things for a while, and even when you planted yourself in the driver's seat, people just seem to just, like, pass it off, going, everybody else is affecting this. Yeah, forget about Dan, we'll deal with him later, and just... He got himself to the end, especially after winning a good amount of competitions towards the end. But here, he's not winning anything. He's openly manipulating everybody and putting himself at risk. I mean, like, sure, he gets pulled off with the veto, and ultimately Ian didn't really go after him after he was nominated as a pawn when really Dan wanted to get him out, but holy man, Dan. Just... wasn't that great? I mean, like, Dan, honestly, was, one of my favorite winners up until this point. And even for a returning player, if you want to officially compare him to Will, he still did a nice job of controlling his second season and ended up getting the good ways along, but... yeah, he still ends up having flaws with, like, the bad personality, so that's just, like, such an ironic thing, because, both Dan and Will have one season where they control the people great and are able to succeed, and then they have another season where they fall short. But the interesting thing is, Will did better the second time in my eyes in terms of likability and keeping control of the game, whereas Dan did better the first time. So honestly, can I really compare the two? Nah, because they had their negative personalities go on different seasons. I think you can figure it out. So, whether Dan's better than, well, I'm going to put that to bed. Although I think I'll say that they're definitely basically the only ones that you can really debate as being the best players ever, although part of that isn't completely fair because they had a second chance. If you're going to compare them to the first time only, I drop down Will a good ways and then throw Evil Dick in there along with Danielle. Although Dan easily trumps over Danielle. Big Brother 3 Danielle, I mean. Yeah. And I think that basically sums up how the Shane getting evicted happened and all that. Hang on. Anything else I want to mention? Nah, so then let's fast forward to the top two here. It's interesting to see the parallel between these two because Ian, you know, was the newbie that was carrying the feel that he was going to cause a lot of disruptions but also do well. He manipulated both sides of the house. He actually never remained nominated, whereas Dan ended up remaining nominated one time in both his seasons. And both of these two actually never got any votes to be evicted this season, because that's the thing that's totally ironic about Dan's performance this season. It was bad, but he somehow manages to get all the way to the end, and, yeah, but all of his lies got exposed right there at the end, yeah. So, ultimately, I really do understand why the jury chose Ian over Dan, because, yeah, Dan just burned so many bridges, and whether they're coming across as the smooth guy that can not just manipulate people but make a great case, he was just manipulating people, not doing a great job of it, and, yeah. But at the same time, I'm still pissed that he didn't win, because, you know, he put in so much effort just to get to the end, you know, and yeah. And the crazy thing is also, he almost made it carrying his only player to the end also, because yeah, had he actually managed to win that HOH, he would have evicted Ian. I think he's revealed that to us, based on what I heard there. Yeah, I don't really know what else to mention. So the ultimate reaction with the season is, I want to say it's good, and at the same time, I want to say it's not. The same thing basically applies to the final two. Part of me wants to be happy, part of me wants to be pissed off. Although, I think I'll be honest, had the coaches not become players, and Ian had somehow made it to the final two anyway, I probably would have absolutely no problem at all rooting for him. Okay. So, now, what does the season fall in? Okay, I'm going to have to bring up the rankings of Big Brother seasons. Now, I'm not going to do all the rankings because I think I've made it obvious which seasons I like and which seasons I don't like by this point, okay? So, going into where the seasons start to get a little iffy, or, you know, where I didn't like them at first, that kind of thingy from best to worst. I think the ranking goes 5 to 4. This season, I'm going to go with Season 6, and then Season 13, and then Season 9. I put 13 below 6 because, yes, while it was easier to keep track of, the house guests in 6 wouldn't have killed each other and still produced pretty interesting characters. 13, the interesting characters had already happened, and, well, you know how I feel about that season. And now I gotta watch Big Brother 15, which some people say is even worse than Big Brother 9. How can it get worse than Big Brother 9, okay? I mean, like, okay, if this season is worse, I mean, next season, sorry, is worse than Big Brother 9, oh man, I don't know what I'm going to do with the show at this point. Oh, brother. Here's to hope it is not as bad as that. If it's bad, I don't mind at all, but... Oh, please don't tell me it's worse.